My name is Jeff, tattoo out of blood, sweat, and tears, and I've been tattooing for about 8 years. I first got into tattooing, really, really long story. I'm 45. I wanted to be a tattoo artist in my 20s. And I was always hanging out in shops. All my friends are tattoo artists. It didn't get kicked off right then. I wasn't quite mentally ready. I didn't believe at 20 I was okay with an apprenticeship. Didn't want to be told what to do. So I took a little break, did life, spent almost 15 years, 16 years doing random stuff. And then I was married at the time, and it was just time. The person I was married to said, go, chase your dreams. So then I put together a portfolio and went around from shop to shop and found someone to do my apprenticeship with. I've been drawing since a kid. I actually wanted to be an illustrator. I want to draw for comic books, work for Disney. You're catching the pop culture references. Hunger. I've had that business mindset. Always wanted to own my own. Didn't really want to work for anybody else. But I'm glad I did. Taught me a lot. It taught me enough to know what to do, what not to do, what to put up with, what not to put up with. There's definitely a balance to that. You've got to know that not everybody works the same way as you do. Even though you want everybody to be on the same mental path, there's other things that stop it. Everybody has their external things, their own outside life that could get into the way. Well, if you look at it, it's two things. One, you have to, as an artist or business owner, you have to put your own blood, your own sweat and tears into being successful. Two, your client's doing the same thing. They're putting their blood. Some of them may actually cry. And a lot of them will sweat. There have been many a times I've had to clean sweat off that chair. I base all of that on the person. Sometimes you have to just get straight to the point and be like, listen, this is going to hurt. You just got to get over it. Or you really look at them and understand, hey, we're going to get through this together. Just breathe. Think of something else. What I like to do is I put people in conversation. I like to engage them in conversation of things they're into. What are their interests? Because then they forget about what's going on in front of them. And then they realize that, wow, I can do this again. Here I go. Atmosphere. Camaraderie. The biggest thing for me in this business, and especially here, is the customer himself. What do they remember? We kind of just briefly touched on it a second ago. When you can get somebody to forget what they're doing and they're just having a conversation like they're hanging out with their homies, they're ready to come back for more. Illustrative. I can do anything from new school to traditional. If you look at it, it still has a very illustrative style. It shows you that love for cartoons, that love for comic book work. I won't do your basic realism. That's not for me. It's not my style of art. I couldn't even do it when I was drawing. Well, you need to broaden your horizons, but you still need to know your lane. If you want a tattoo of your Uncle Charlie, I might then give you Uncle Fester. I don't want to do that to you. That's not fair. I would have to say, yes, there was a moment. Could I remember when? No, because there's been many. You go through moments where you're sitting there going, oh, wow, am I going to be able to pay my bills? Because when you start, you've got to hustle. Tattooing is a hustle. And there have been many times where I've sat there going, holy crap, this isn't going to work. I can't make this work.
What drives you to keep going after that?
Family. My family is my drive. My kids are my drive. Everybody's got to eat. Patience. I cannot tell you the number of times I've actually had to slow my roll on my tolerance with clients or my patience with the client or even other artists that I've worked with. I'm different. I move different than most people. I think 10 times ahead of the next person sometimes. And when I run into those people, it's hard. Definitely say my style changed with time based on technique. Learning what works better for me, what doesn't work, paying attention to what I've done wrong in the past. You're only as good as your last movement. And that's the only thing you compete with is your next movement or the last movement. The customers, the clients, they keep me passionate. They keep me going because for me, it's their journey. It's why they're here. Every client has a reason to come in, whether it's for a memorial tattoo or, as we like to joke about in the industry, therapy. It's their journey. It's whatever drives them to come in. It keeps me going. it's not about the way I tattoo because I want that to change. I want to be able to develop and grow, do something different. It's my approach. Again, it's the customer, it's the clientele. To me, without them, we're just twiddling our thumbs. We're not doing anything but drawing. Our clients are the ones that are out there as billboards. They're the ones that, if it wasn't for them, they're not telling the next person. How are we growing as artists? How are we growing as a business? So, yeah. So with that being said, if I don't grow with my clients or friends, because pretty much everybody I tattoo become friends, I'm lost. I don't grow. Well, sometimes the best part is you get clients that look at you going, okay, do your thing. Here's my concept. Go do your thing. Trust is huge. Trust with your client is huge because they wouldn't keep coming if you didn't have their trust or they didn't have yours.
If somebody only saw your Instagram page, what would they miss about you?
My humor, the colorfulness inside the brain or even the exterior. I use my Instagram as things that I want people to see. Yeah, do they see a lot of it? No. The things they see on Instagram I use as attention grabbers. Just to be like, this could be interesting. Let's see where this goes.